Alright, so first we have an equation here written in standard form. So that's in the form of ax plus by equals c. So the first thing that we really want to do in order to put this in slope-intercept form is isolate the variable y. So we need to get our y terms all by themselves. So I'm going to highlight here, this is our y term, that negative 3y. So the first thing we ask ourselves is, what term do I need to move to the other side? That term would be 2x. And right now, even though there's not a plus sign there, this is actually a positive 2x, because if there's no sign, we know it's positive. The inverse operation of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to draw my line down the center, and I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And I know that a positive 2x minus 2x equals 0, so it cancels out. Our next step then is to drop everything down. So we have negative 3y equals, and the question is, can I subtract 2x from 5? And the answer is no, because they are not like terms. So I have to ask myself, do I want to write my negative 2x first or the 5? And if I want to make sure that it goes in mx plus b form on the right side of my equation, I'm going to write negative 2x first. And is this 5 a positive or a negative? There's no sign in front of it, so I know it's actually a plus. Next thing we have to ask ourselves, is y all by itself yet? And that answer is no, because we have a negative 3 in front of it. Now we have to remember that when a number and a variable are squished together, it actually means multiplication. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. And we need to stop and remember that when I divide anything on both sides of the equation, I must do it to every single term. So just to make sure that you remember, you have to divide this term by negative 3 and this term by negative 3. And I'm left with y equals negative 2x over 3 plus 5 over negative 3. Don't forget those negative signs. And a negative divided by a negative makes a positive, so I have 2/3 x. And a positive divided by a negative makes a negative, so minus 5/3. So my equation written in slope-intercept form is y equals 2/3 x minus 5/3. And from there I could tell you that the slope is 2 over 3. That's that number in front of x. And my y-intercept is negative 5 over 3, which is about, 3 goes into 5 one time with 2 left over, so it's about negative 1 2/3. That's where I would graph that initial point on the y-axis. It would be down here somewhere, and my slope would be a positive slope, so I would sketch a graph that looks something like this. There's your equation.